People always assumed Jonathan Hale had everything: money, status, a mansion that sat on a hill overlooking the entire city. But on that cold November evening, when he stepped out of a downtown restaurant carrying a bag of leftover food, he felt more alone than ever. And then he heard it. A trembling voice, soft, scared, and soaked with hunger. "Sir, may I have your leftovers?" Jonathan turned. And when he looked into her eyes, those tired, hopeful eyes, something inside him shattered, and a miracle he never expected began to unfold. Before we dive into this emotional journey, make sure you subscribe to Kindness Diaries, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more real, heartwarming stories to life and spread kindness across the world. Jonathan Hale wasn't always a millionaire, but years of non-stop work had pushed him into a world where success was louder than compassion. His days were filled with meetings, contracts, and people who wanted something from him. Yet in all the noise, he couldn't remember the last time he truly felt seen. That night, he had met with investors at an upscale restaurant: sleek suits, polished words, empty smiles. When the dinner ended, he packed the untouched extra food out of habit. His late mother had taught him never to waste a meal. "Someone, somewhere, needs it more than we do," she used to say. The city outside was chilly. Traffic hummed, lights flickered, and a thin fog rolled along the sidewalks. Jonathan adjusted his coat and walked toward his car. And that's when he heard her. "Sir, excuse me, may I have your leftovers?" He turned toward the voice. A young woman, maybe 24, stood near the curb. Her clothes were clean but worn. A backpack rested at her feet, the zipper broken. Her brown hair was pulled back loosely, and her hands shook from the cold. But it was her eyes, gentle, exhausted, quietly desperate, that held him still. Jonathan had seen homeless people before. He had given money here and there, usually without thinking. But something about her made him pause. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Emily," she whispered. "I'm sorry to bother you. I haven't eaten since yesterday." Jonathan looked at the bag in his hand: steak, potatoes, bread, enough to fill a stomach for the night. He handed it to her without hesitation. But when she reached for it, he noticed something. She didn't grab it greedily or tear it open. She held it with both hands like it was something fragile, something sacred. And then she whispered, "Thank you," in a way that made Jonathan's chest tighten. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" he asked. She hesitated. "I sleep at the women's shelter when they have space. But tonight they're full. I'll be okay, though. There's a church porch nearby." Her voice tried to sound brave, but it trembled. Jonathan stood there, feeling an unfamiliar ache. His mother would never have walked away. And for the first time in years, he didn't want to walk away either. "Come on," he said softly. "Let me get you a warm meal." Emily shook her head quickly. No, you already gave me food. I don't want to bother you." "You're not bothering me," he said. "Please." She looked at him again, uncertain, fragile. Then she nodded. He took her to a small diner down the street, one of those places with warm lighting, red booths, and a waitress who always called everyone honey. When they sat down, she kept glancing around as if afraid someone would tell her she didn't belong. Jonathan ordered her a hot bowl of soup, grilled chicken, mashed potatoes, and hot chocolate. When the food arrived, she stared at it for a moment, not out of greed, but disbelief. "Go ahead," he encouraged. Emily took a spoonful. And as soon as the warmth hit her stomach, her eyes brimmed with tears. She turned her face slightly, wiping them quickly, embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. It's been a while since I've felt warm." Jonathan didn't know what to say, so he simply sat there, listening as she slowly opened up. Emily had once been a college student, studying nursing. Her mother had passed away, and she had no other family. She worked part-time jobs to keep up with tuition. But one medical bill, then another, pushed her into a cycle she couldn't escape. Eventually, she lost her apartment. She tried to survive, but the world wasn't kind to those who slipped through the cracks quietly. "I don't want anything for free," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm trying so hard. I just need a little time to get back up." Jonathan felt something shift inside him, a weight he didn't know he had been carrying. Here was a young woman fighting for her life. And here he was, a man who had everything, yet felt empty. And now he finally saw why. He had forgotten the feeling of helping someone without expecting anything in return. "Emily," he said after a long silence, "do you trust me?" She looked startled. I don't know. Should I? I want to help you. Not just for tonight. For real." Her eyes widened. "Why? You don't even know me." "Because someone once helped my mother when she had nothing," he said. "And she taught me that kindness is meant to be passed on, not kept." Emily looked down at her hands, unsure, frightened of disappointment, maybe even hope. What do you mean by help?" she asked carefully. Jonathan thought for a moment before answering. "First, a hotel for a few nights. Somewhere safe. Then tomorrow, we get you new clothes, warm ones. After that, if you're willing, I'll help you finish nursing school." She blinked. "You'd pay? For me? Why?" "Because you deserve a chance," he said softly. "And everyone deserves someone who believes in them." Emily leaned back, covering her mouth as tears streamed down her face, silent, grateful, overwhelming tears. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You don't need to," he replied. "Just promise me something." She looked up. "When you're able," he said, "help someone else. The way I'm helping you." She nodded slowly, holding on to those words like they were a lifeline. He booked her a hotel room just 2 blocks away. Before she walked in, she turned to him and said, "You didn't just give me food tonight, you gave me hope." And for the first time in years, Jonathan felt his own eyes sting. Hope, something he thought he had lost, was returning to him too. Over the next few months, Emily's life transformed. Jonathan helped her file for grants, connected her with a women's support program, bought her textbooks, and made sure she had everything she needed. She studied every day, determined and grateful. And slowly, she began to glow again, like someone remembering who they were meant to be. Jonathan visited sometimes, bringing coffee, checking on her progress. But what surprised him most was how being around her changed him. For so long, he had measured success by numbers, deals, and accounts. But now, he found himself smiling more, listening more, caring more. He started volunteering at shelters, donating anonymously, and spending weekends serving meals instead of hiding alone in his big house. One evening, months later, Emily called him. "I passed," she cried. "Jonathan, I passed my exams. I'm officially a nurse." He felt something warm swell in his chest, pride, joy, maybe even healing. "That's wonderful," he said. "I knew you could do it." There was a pause. Then Emily said, with a shaky but hopeful voice. "And I already helped someone today. A woman who came into the clinic crying. I sat with her. I held her hand. I remembered your words. The kindness you gave me. I passed it on." Jonathan closed his eyes, overcome with emotion. That was the miracle. Not that he saved her. But that kindness, once given, didn't end. It grew. Sometimes, a miracle doesn't look like lightning or fate. Sometimes, it begins with a simple question from a stranger on a cold street. "May I have your leftovers, sir?" And it continues when one heart opens the door for another. Jonathan learned that night that wealth means nothing without compassion. And Emily learned that hope can return the moment